Hello, I'm John Felt. Welcome to the NCGA Valent Ag Weather Outlook for May 21st, 2016. Well, last week, as I indicated, it'll be a fairly quiet week, and you can see over most of the region we had a break. Many areas needed that. We needed to dry out in spots, and most areas, especially some areas that have been very wet in the central part of the Corn Belt, did dry out. Now, an exception was that corridor between Texas, Oklahoma, up into Kansas, that still remained wet. But overall, most of the Corn Belt was a much drier week with either very little or no rainfall. Now, temperatures over the last week, you can see here we had that really cool air sitting over us. And remember, I have a couple forecast tips I want to point out in today's briefing. One of them is that it's during the transitions is when we get our active weather. It's not necessarily when we get the hot air or the cold air over us. In this case, we had that pool of cool air, high pressure, and it was a quiet week. Now let's go back since the first of the month, and this is one of the things I know we've been battling here a bit, are cooler temperatures. This is from the 1st of May, and you can see we're averaging anywhere from 2 degrees to over 4 degrees, as much as 6 degrees below normal. So it's been a cool month. That's going to change. This briefing I'm going to be talking about, finally we're going to get above normal and stay there over most areas for a while. But we've been dealing with this so far in May, and when we get these cool temperatures, we can't get as much of that moisture out of the soil, so soil stay wetter than normally would be with the warmer weather. So we're going to have an interesting forecast coming up here. I'm going to be talking about talking a lot about rainfall, but rather than with cooler weather, I'm going to be talking about it with warmer weather. Okay, so here are your soil temperatures. Last week, they just didn't have a whole lot of progression up to the north with that cool weather over us. And like I said, with soil moisture, we do have adequate soil moisture over almost the entire Corn Belt. We have pretty much 0% of the primary Corn Belt in drought, and we do still have excess in several areas. And this is a calculated model here, and it sort of shows this area of Nebraska and western Iowa, parts of northeast Kansas and northwest Missouri. Those are the spots that soils look like they're the wettest, and also parts of Kentucky and right along the Ohio River. So those are areas that probably could use some more drying out. I think the rest of the area is fairly close to a neutral condition at the current time. Now, the second forecast tip I want to talk about a little bit in today's briefing is I discuss the jet stream a lot, and on my briefings, I try to show you things that you would not normally see maybe on the TV news, at least as much. And one of the things I want to show you is let's keep an eye on where the jet stream originates. Now, it's going to flow along these lines. So this is sort of the overall pattern. We have this ridge of high pressure, this pushing up of high pressure, and we know that's going to bring us warmer weather. But let's look at where the jet stream originates from. So when we have a southwest flow like this, it's coming up here. It's not coming down here into the eastern Corn Belt. It's coming right in this region here. And that's saying energy associated with this trough here will be ejected out and move into this area. So that gives you a clue that this could be the area that's a little bit more active, the central Corn Belt, rather than the east. And that's just something as we go through the jet stream we want to look at. Now, temperature this week, warmer, significantly warmer than last week. You can see it, that dip in the jet stream over in this region. In the western U.S., cooler temperatures, central U.S., warmer temperatures. Not as much the eastern Corn Belt, which will be fairly close to normal. But the upper Midwest, Minnesota, well above normal this week. So precipitation, I said it was going to eject out of the southwest and right into the central Corn Belt. Now, remember where I showed you that excess of rain? This is a bullseye right over the area that ideally it'd be nice to not have so much at this time. Southeast Nebraska, northeast Kansas, western Iowa, another 3 inches of rain. Elsewhere, the rest of Iowa, rest of Missouri, Illinois, and such, that's probably going to be enough rain to keep things in pretty good shape. Not really that much of a problem one way or the other. But where it's been wet, it would have been nicer just to have an inch of rain there. Now, we'll see that 3 inches of rain, a little bit hard to say exactly where it's going to occur because it's going to be with thunderstorms. Now, we get out into the May 26th to 31st, the very end of May. The jet stream's still coming out of the southwest, so that probably means we're going to have a chance of precipitation but it's much weaker. This whole system, the energy is a lot less weaker. So you would think the probabilities would be less in the 6 to 10 day period. Now temperatures also stay warm. So finally, and I don't remember when the last time we had this during the growing season, it does look like we're going to have a sustained time of above normal temperatures. Now this is going out through 10 days. So it's been a while since we've had that. And then as we get into early June, what we have is see that shade of brown, a ridge of high pressure right over the central part of the U.S., Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, and the Dakotas. Not so much over the east. You know, sometimes when you see this little dip coming here, that's very much could be associated with a backdoor cool front, which brings some cooler air into the eastern Corn Belt. That's way out there, 11 to 15 days, so we don't have a lot of confidence. But it does show this jet stream still out of the southwest. So looking at that, that would indicate to me that maybe the chances would be better in the western Corn Belt and quiet in the eastern Corn Belt in that 11 to 15 day range. Temperatures still quite warm, unusually warm over the western Corn Belt, but the entire region, now we're going out 15 days. And that doesn't mean we're going to not have a break every once in a while, the cool front going through. But right now it looks like for the next 15 days, the average should be above normal as far as temperatures over most areas, with the warmest temperatures over the western and north central Midwest. Now, as far as precipitation go, these are your anomalies in days 1 through 7. So it really looks like right in the central portion here, areas that have been wet are going to get wetter, and we're going to have some reinforcing rainfall in surrounding areas. It probably, I wouldn't necessarily say it's needed, but it's going to sort of stay and keep things in that fully recharged situation. It's going to start in the central U.S., spread to the east as the week goes on. So late in the week, it could push more into the eastern Corn Belt, but the eastern Corn Belt will probably average near normal this week. Now, week 2, the models right now are saying I would call this sort of a normal precipitation pattern, but I think right in the central area, again, looks like the best bet. So when we look at the eastern Corn Belt here for the next 2 weeks, I wouldn't be surprised if we average normal or maybe even a little bit below normal. I wouldn't be surprised in the middle section right here, normal to a little bit above normal, and then the western sections above normal. Now, as far as severe weather goes, I wanted to point out that there is a chance of severe thunderstorms in this area in yellow in particular. There's a slight risk. So parts of the growing region, especially the far west, this is for Sunday and this is for Monday. Now, soil moisture over the period through the end of the month, you can see the shades of blue in many areas, and that's indicating that cumulatively it does look like we're going to continue to keep a pattern of adequate soil moisture and in some cases excess soil moisture. So I think I've covered all the main topics here, but the trends again, ample rainfall, some areas excess, some areas maybe not quite as much, but overall I think that the topic here, the theme is ample rainfall. Looks like it's going to continue through the rest of May, but this time with warmer temperatures. And I'm going to end the briefing as I started it. The big difference is with the warmer temperatures, it'll pull it out of the ground quicker, so we can handle that rainfall much better than we can with the colder temperatures. Have a great week. You always have my email, so if you ever have a question, just send me an email. I'd be glad to answer it. I hope you all have a great week.